Hello and welcome to Driver's Therapy. Today we have a great video because we have Jayce in his 1989 Honda CRX. And this is really special because I love the CRX. So much so, I'm even wearing a shirt about the CRX. I've had this for a couple of years. But Jayce, first off and foremost, thank you for coming out. We appreciate it.
Awesome.
And we have to kick it off. How long have you owned your CRX?
So I've had this car for a little over 5 years now.
Okay, nice. And did it come this mint? Because this is so mint.
Yeah, most of the work was already done for me. I've had the top half resprayed and repainted and the trim touched up, but most of the work was already done when I had it.
Now, when I look at the car, if you're standing about 5 or 10 feet away, it looks black, but the closer you get, you see some almost sparkle and almost like a bronze or some type of brown.
Yeah, so I had it done in the OEM flint black metallic from Honda, and when it's new you can definitely see some of those other colors they put in there.
I never knew that. I never knew that they used that color.
Yeah, usually by the time you see them at this point it's a little dulled down, so it's nice to see it fresh.
True, true. Now I have to say, my CRX was rattle can. So I see that the wheels, you said, what are those? Those are particularly called a certain.
Yeah, these are the 14-inch saw blades they did on the 88 to 89 SI models.
Nice, nice. So those are the original SI wheels.
Correct.
Well, growing up, we used to put like the GSR wheels, like the blades and the LS wheels, but these look really good. Now, these cars are becoming collector cars. I'm sure you're aware, but on Bring a Trailer this past year, I've seen a couple of them almost hit $40,000.
Yeah, it's certainly getting rarer and rarer to find them, especially in good shape. And then, you know, some of the rare add-ons will fetch a pretty penny these days.
Now, I have to ask, did you pay anywhere near that price?
No, not quite, not myself.
So who did you buy the car from? An older person, young person?
So I'm the third owner. This was originally purchased new in 1989 at our own Fuco Honda.
Oh, local?
Yep, local. It's been in the valley its whole life, and then eventually they moved on and sold it to who's now the service manager at the Honda dealership. I was looking at larger metro areas like Denver, Salt Lake, Phoenix, trying to find a clean example. And I was actually going to work one day when this car passed by with a for sale sign.
Was it going the other direction?
Yeah, crossing paths, so it flipped a U and followed it, and that took me to the Honda dealership, and there it was for sale from the service manager, and here we are now.
That's amazing. That is destiny. But this is where I'm going to surprise you guys, because this is actually a LS powered CRX, right? Am I getting that right?
Yes, yeah. So I've swapped over the motor from a 1994 Integra LS.
Okay, you did the swap?
My dad and I, yeah.
Okay, that's so cool. So you and your dad did a swap, which is already super cool because I'm sure that built a great memory.
Yeah, I like to think he remembers it fondly, but there were some tumultuous weekends to get it all figured out. It was definitely the largest scale mechanical operation either of us have embarked on.
That is awesome. But you drove the original setup for a while, for a couple years?
Just about a year. Pretty much a year into ownership, I knew that I wanted to swap it out for something with a little more juice, and yeah, pretty much after the year mark, I had the swap on the way.
And why did you pick the LS versus like the B16 or GSR or Type R?
Yeah, so my price confines pretty much put me into the B16 or the B18. And, you know, VTEC has its own reputation and it's sought after. But I was thinking for my use of the car, just daily driving, I wanted something that provided a little more power lower in the RPM range. I knew I wasn't going to be up at 6,000 RPM in between stoplights every time.
you were going to be Don Toretto, just Fast and the Furious, doing 20 shifts in a matter of like 20 feet. I love those movies. They're like, I forgot which Fast and Furious, but they're doing like 30 shifts. They actually do like 30 shifts. And you're like, okay, I'm confused.
Yeah, and the LS swap is known for more torque, but it's not enough to twist the chassis off the line.
So you got the LS, you put it in there, and did you tell a big difference between the two motors?
Yeah, so the original D16 A6 is rated for 108 horsepower out of the factory and about 100 foot-pounds even of torque. And the B18 B1 is 142 horsepower and 127 foot-pounds of torque. So you definitely notice the increase in torque. And with an engine from 1989, it kind of makes you wonder how far under 100 horsepower you are. So definitely woke it up a bit.
That's awesome. And you've really enjoyed that setup.
Yeah, I have. It's been reliable.
Have you done anything additional to it, like headers or exhaust or anything else?
Just exhaust.
Okay.
Just engine, transmission, and exhaust, and that's it.
Nice. And you use the same transmission from the LS swap, or did you do something different?
I have a YS1 cable transmission mounted up to the engine.
So what is the YS one? What does that one go to?
That goes to 90 to 93 B18 A1s, I believe.
Okay. And is that like, what cars did those come in?
Just the Integras.
Okay.
Pre-1994. In 1994 is when they swapped over to the B1. And those actually had hydraulic transmissions, but for simplicity of the swap, I stuck with the cable.
Nice, nice. And how do you feel about the driving experience? With the gearing and everything?
Yeah, it feels really organic. The cable transmission definitely grabs harder. It's more responsive. It's not quite as smooth as the hydraulic, which is, from a driver's perspective, sometimes more enjoyable.
So one of the unique things about your CRX is, do they call it louvers or something in the back?
Yeah, so this was a factory option. The window louvers, you could get them back in the day straight from the factory, and they present a little more of a rattle, so it was commonplace to ditch them. But as things go in the Honda world, what was undesirable back then always circles around in demand, so now they're hard to find.
I actually haven't seen many CRXs in my life with that, so that is cool. Does it obstruct your view too much or not really?
No, they designed it really well, so it blocks the sun, but when you're sitting level, then it's transparent. You don't really notice it.
That is awesome. That is so unique. And where'd you find that? Like online?
No, this came on the car.
Oh,
yeah.
snap. So have you had anyone like, oh my gosh, know exactly what it is and be like, I want it?
Yeah, there's definitely people that are up to snuff on, you know, the difference between the 88s and the 89s compared to the 90s and 91s. So I'd say that first wave of 88, 89 SIs are probably the most sought after and rare of the CRX lineage.
That's so cool. Now, did the 89 SI come with all disc brakes all around?
No, they changed that in 90.
Okay.
So I've got disc in front and drums in the back.
Okay, but the disc in the front is good enough in my opinion.
Yeah, and for 2,100 pounds, you know, it stops pretty well.
I mean, that was ahead of its time because companies still in the late 80s were not introducing disc brakes all around, and if they did, they were asking for a big premium. Now, one of the things I love about the CRX is that it is the independent control arms and independent chassis. It just really makes it handle really well, right?
Yeah, this was the first generation where they switched over to the double wishbones all around, so you definitely feel the road more and it's way more responsive.
That's awesome. Now, you've kept most of it stock. Is there anything, do you have the same radio or?
I do.
Okay, nice.
The same radio, same climate control, same gauge cluster. Try to keep it as original as possible.
Do you have AC?
I do have AC.
Are you serious?
I do.
What? You have AC? How did you make that happen?
Yeah, so I think it was Hasport has a bracket conversion kit to bring over my stock AC onto the new B18 B1.
And then after that, it was a wrap.
Yeah, you just need a belt and you're good to go.
That is insane. And it blows cold.
It does blow cold, yes.
That's insane. So you have a very clean, proper swap with AC. Is it a cassette player?
It does have cassette playing, yes.
Do you have cassettes?
I do not.
Okay, so do you listen to the radio?
I've thought about investing in cassettes, but it's, you know, it usually just comes out on weekends, so I'll just throw on some FM and drive.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, it would be cool to get some cassettes.
It would.
Yeah, what kind of music do you listen to?
I kind of bounce around, but I'd say primarily I'm a hip-hop guy.
Oh.
So some like 90s age hip-hop cassettes would fit right in.
And it would hit hard because they sound different, you know?
Yeah, and it's such a small space that the acoustics really reverberate. It's not much room for the sound to go.
But the tapes themselves also hit different.
They do, yeah.
You know, there's something too about throwing it in there and popping it on. Does your sunroof work?
My sunroof does work.
Oh my God. And it's not electric seatbelts yet, right?
No.
Okay, that was in the Integras.
Yeah.
And I think the same year Integras, they had those weird electric belts. But yeah, is there any parts that maybe somebody watching might have and you...
I like upholstery stuff, you know, good condition seats are always in demand in the market. Mine are pretty nice, but not perfect.
For me, the door cards were the hardest thing to find. Like clean ones, the ones that say like, you know, the whole thing on.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to have inherited good condition SI door cards.
That's awesome. I love it. So do you have any future plans for your CRX?
I'd just like to continue restoration and chip away at what would be a showroom quality car, but I knew that I never wanted it to be a race car, so I'm not going down the rabbit hole of increasing horsepower. Just want a nice, clean example.
Well, we really absolutely love your car, and it is just a masterpiece, and we really appreciate you sharing it with us. And do you have an Instagram, or you do? Do you have an Instagram?
Yeah.
That's how we were talking. This is his Instagram, and if you want to follow him, I highly recommend it. You recently got some photos done by Parker.
Yes.
They came out so nice, so we have to show those here. Oh, those are amazing. They look so good. But thank you so much for sharing. This is a real treat. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on the channel.
Yes.